But either way, guys, I'm really excited to see how this map is gonna pan out. Talked about Harbor a lot, and I feel like it's been forever since we've seen a Harbor, like on any map, really.
Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, this is the NRG composition that ZOL are running out with. Yeah, it's the NRG comp. So, expecting, hopefully Sin to do something great and some good timings with Kevzy on the recon. Eman, you're gonna have to be really keen-eyed on his cascade usage, I think, from memory, if they're trying to emulate NRG. And a lot of this mid-space. You'll see a lot of mid-space and a lot of B splits come out.
Yeah, it's one thing to copy a composition, it's another to understand it. And sometimes a lot of teams do end up falling short in that regard just because they don't understand how the system works. But it does look like they're going to bully their way into B, but it's actually Endo finding two despite having a stray bullet get shot onto his side. It will refresh the dash, and you'll have another chance at getting away scot-free, but ZOL are not deterred into running into the site. Kevzy finds Hardora, and it looks like it's still an even 2v2 here. Not much ground has been made for both sides. Either way, the plan is gonna go down.
Oh, that's such a risky fight from Hot Sauce, though. When you got the Razor Vine available now, it is all down unsigned. One can reposition with the gate crash as well, but maybe you want to try and utilize it as a fake and catch your opponent. I think he might have actually just seen the little tracer of it appear on his screen when it does shimmy on by, but it doesn't really matter when Fontes is getting the kill for the defuse and the pistol round for Z11.
Oh, maybe that was a bit of an oversight there, that there was still a player present towards mid. But again, they had to full commit to that push anyway, just so they can really run up the numbers. I mean, they did readdress it. I'm way more surprised that Endo survived that long. I mean, whiffs can happen. We've seen it time and time again, even for just today. But you gotta make those shots count because, again, that should have been the 1-for-1.
Yeah, no, it probably should have been at the end of the day. Like, ZOL set themselves up for a nice little close-up, but it just doesn't work out. Unfortunately, at the end, a risk of Hot Sauce, as they're going to say. Too spicy. And,
My God.
Now you kind of pay the price in the next round.
Shot down.
All right, let's just recycle that Marshall, and third time's the charm, right?
Maybe. Kelsey's getting a lot of orbs to his name too, so with a Hunter's Fury early on, they definitely have the leeway to be a bit more aggressive with it if they want to just bully ZOL even more. And again, this is the risk of running a comp that maybe you don't have that much practice in. It's only like the first two rounds.
One enemy remaining. Spike down.
Dancing around the site. Not going to clear out the kills and just make this a non-costly round for Z11. Pretty much all you can go for him on such as this, and they'll just navigate that one quite nicely. So all in all, nicely done in order. It's time for ZOL to really see what they can do on this attacking side with this comp.
I'm trying to think if Vice is a good defaulting agent, or is she just somewhat dead on a default.
One enemy remaining.
Like, how does she take space proactively? Does she do it with the arc rows? Because again, maybe ZOL might want to go for that, right? If they're not going to lean into this execution thing, like, all the way through.
I mean, one of the biggest things for them is going to be a lot of their layering when it comes down to Kevzy's utility and Eman's as well, and then where Sins can get through. It's very cheeky for the very beginning of this round, actually, for Z11 to be taking this A space, because a lot of the time for ZOL, we're going to have to see an early drone from Kevzy or a dart if they want to use that, and sending Eman in behind the cascade. That's like kind of one of those standard A main controls. For right now, it's going to be that spread on default, and if you're, recognizing this composition of Z11, one of the things in these sort of positions is have a bit of a spot eye on mid later in the round, recognize that splits are the valuable solution in this one and how this comp works for ZOL, and when you get a whiff of any sub 40-second positions, that's generally where this comp is going to end.
And just to highlight, the 40 seconds is when the scramble usually begins, when the rotations happen, just for the audience there at home. I like this. Again, utility on the side of Z11. They're not necessarily trying to greed for information. With Zind out of the way, This is going to make this attack even more difficult, but Kevzi will take matters into his own hands, taking away his fellow initiator player. And it enables the rest of the squad to somewhat flood in. Spike is going to go down. He'll see Hardora in, I'd say, a pretty difficult position for this retake.
Definitely. You still got a Cove available for Eman as well, and eventually this recon dart for Kevzi is going to pop on back. I mean, I'll even add insult to injury that it's the third round, it's your first gun round, and you got a Hunter's Fury in the mix, so it should all but be very difficult for Z11 to get back in towards this one. Recon dart in. A good reveal on towards Hardora, and he's going to see if he can do anything. It's just trades at the end of the day. It's even the Razorvine from Hot Sauce to get the job done at the end. So ZOL will answer back 2 at the end. Look, it's probably not the pass mark all in all, Raph. They get the round. They would have loved 3 to survive if possible. You are 1 away from Dimensional Drift, however, as Sins. So if you're able to get that one, you know, this is one of those maps where that B orb is generally relatively free. It's a way to, you know, get a good B execute happening.
Again, the problem here is I hope ZOL have the mind to just keep their utility active. Because again, it is a pitfall that a lot of teams tend to end up falling to. They just stagnate with their utility. They wait for the pushes instead of trying to be a bit more assertive with their control. Like you mentioned, that B control is free as all hell. They are probably thinking about using that Dimensional Drift. There's not a lot of pressure towards mid here. In fact, Z11 have completely conceded it. But like you said, maybe they're going to post up a person there later on in the round. But so far, both teams so patient.
If you're ZOL right now and you've got this Dimensional Drift, you're seeing if there's any overextension from the Z11 guys, and if there's not, someone's going back and getting the spike, and you're setting up for Sins to go in with the Dimensional Drift, Kevzi with the dart as well, and someone to follow back behind Sins' Dimensional Drift. Clear the space, get the plant down, set yourselves up for a good post. Again, you've still got that Hunter's Fury. Drone actually doesn't see anybody, so does that give you some false security over to the Z11 side? It very well might. But nobody's maneuvering away until finally Endoscene starts to move from A. Dimensional drifts in, and yeah, let's see if this plan can go down.
30 seconds left.
Well, it should, is the correct answer here, as Hardora and the rest of the gang are still prying their way towards B. They don't necessarily have any information on who might be flanking or what that could delay this, but it does look like they're not going to wait too long. Hunter's Fury is going to be expended. A few trades, courtesy of Hot Sauce, is going to bolster the efforts of ZOL and maybe waste a bit more time on this defense. But Z11 have a lid on things, and they have quite a bit of control. The Nebula is there to block the vision, but isn't going to stop Sauce from styling on the competition. No, it's not! One more for the ace, denied by Hardora. And all Kevzi has to do is to plant one between the eyes, and ZOL off the back of one of their newest pickups. Keep the round alive. My goodness.
For Hot Sauce, that's one of those fine, I'll do it myself moments, picking up the 4K at the end of it. That third shot was pretty sinister, gotta say. Nice little tracer shot as they tap on it. Like that reveal, that's really snappy on toward it. A great assist actually to come through at the end there from Kevzi, who does manage to close out the round as well. So really nicely done from ZOL. Equalized 2-2. More importantly, it shuts down this economy a little bit from Z11. So an upgraded Guardian is the best that they've got. These are the scenarios for a team like ZOL to build economy, right? To make sure that you're surviving with all 5 members. To make sure that Eman is getting this reckoning to go in towards the next round. If you're considering a winning strategy in the next round, right? A Steel Garden and a reckoning. Those are some pretty big space gathering abilities to expand to main and either protect the spike or gain entry to get the spike planted.
Kakarot removed from play, so they're not going to have a lot of the pressure that the regenning smokes can provide. The 11 have perhaps a lot less to think about this time around. However, I'm not too sure how the sheriffs are going to fare in some of these fights that ZOL have been taking. Not a lot of them have been in these smaller chokes, but it does look like the execute is going to go all the way towards A. Z11 still hoping that they could retaliate, but maybe this delay in the plan could cost the route for ZOL. My goodness, that's a lot.
Yeah, Yeah, Gravity Well in with the Hunter's Fury as well. We'll get one bolt out onto Kevzy, but the plant hasn't gone down just yet. Eventually, it'll get respected. I'm not sure if there's a gate crash for Sin to get out. There actually is indeed. So now the player advantage going into this retake. Keep an eye on the radar. There's a flank happening from Eman a little bit. Tap on towards the spike. It starts to get diffused. It does get denied. Eman's position finally noted, but the trades, they start to come out in spades. Back on towards this defuse. Protected by a smoke. Looking for the stick. It's Hardora. The smoke goes, but the cage is still there. He's sticking it in the cage, and he manages to find it. They all die, but it doesn't matter. Z11 got the round.
That's the thing, like, what is Abyss even? Is Abyss just the new Ascent? Like
Yeah,
you said, it
yeah,
is
pretty
Ascent
much.
logic, you know. Look at that, there's a catwalk that you can fall to. There's a glorified market
You want to know what it
position.
is? There's a
What
left
is it?
side of the map, there's a middle of
And
the
then-
map, and there's a right side of the map.
Wow! It's
The
like there are
middle-
3 lanes.
The middle can go to both of those sides. Mind blown.
Oh my goodness. If only you could see my face and perhaps feel my disappointment. I'm kidding. But again, if I look at it and squint, it's almost the same.
Cheeky,
I-
but I like it. The mid control. You send in the dart, you send in the gate crash, time it nicely to get this forward middle momentum. So it's good to see that the research has been done by ZOL in how this agent lineup gathers space on the attacking side. Cascade on in as well, but that's going to be immediately countered by the drone. Spotting out nobody's going to be forward either. We've also got Endoisine that's just sitting behind that smoke that, yeah, anyone popping on through would be expected to be taken out.
Does look like it is going to be a slow crawl for ZOL towards whatever they want to build towards, and this could be unfortunate timing for Boss Babe, or he could essentially break this offense.
These are
Okay.
the ones where you don't need to take a risk as Z11 because you know you've lost mid control, but they
Oh.
have to eventually go towards one of these spike sites.
No.
So you don't need to
30
see those 2
seconds
duels
left.
from Bass Babe and from Endo, but you do. And if you're a Z11 fan, I mean, you're kind of happy that they do manage to win.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, essentially
Spike
it
down
should
A.
have been free space for them to give, especially with the time winding down. But yeah, hey man, like the free kills that they're getting, it's a happy plus.
10
They're
seconds
getting the
left.
orbs that they want, and I guess if you're a ZOL player right now, it's really on top of your mind that, well, at least they're willing to take that space. I feel like there's value also in going away from just the textbook play, or like, oh, this should happen, because sometimes it
Yeah,
does
well-
box in some of those teams.
That's one of the biggest differences in what an agent composition gives you in Valorant, right? It's the different little intricacies that certain agents deliver better than
One
others.
enemy
And
remaining.
in combination as well, you add another layer to that fact as well, right? Where you've got a little bit more of a quantifiable agent lineup that we've seen in history on Z11's side. You've got more of a still relatively experimental one from ZOL that we've only seen one team in the world utilize and try to make their own in NRG.
I'm glad that you've been keeping tabs on that, you know, like,
So, we my secret source, so to speak. You asked me in the break what my day job is. Software engineer, data analyst. I've actually programmed a document that tells me every team's latest agent for each map for all the.
oh, did you
regions.
code that yourself? That's crazy.
Yeah.
My goodness. You know, sometimes I do miss being like the code nerd,
Nerds-
but that was a
Nerds
lifetime
rule the
ago.
world.
Yes, that is true. I have unfortunately let go of all my programming knowledge for
Yeah.
other things, but that's fine. And also, you just let out your secret sauce to the world. So guys, the answer is, if you need to know something, just program something for yourself, and it'll give you the stuff.
want-
That's honestly really
You want
nifty,
the
though.
real easy cheat way that I didn't do actually. YouTube and ChatGPT can pretty much tell you how to do it.
Whoa.
If you wanted to do it. Like, it would be basic and not as complex, but
Yeah, but it's cool, you know, coding your own thing. That is an insane solution. But either way, pretty sure your efforts and everybody's efforts are appreciated, especially when it comes to gathering data for all these teams and fighting all these comps. It's a fun little mix and match. At the same time, it does bring me back to the other point. Copying a comp is one thing. Understanding the comp and how to play it in all the situations is another.
100%.
Yeah, currently have a leg up on ZOL. But ZOL, they've had a few shining moments here. But they have to play the comp.
Well, the timeouts do fade away. Likewise of the eventual stealthiness and silence in this round. No one has pressured past the shear from Hot Sauce. But the execute will eventually come on through. Hot Sauce probably doesn't want to be dropping this skill guard until they do get in towards the site. So it's great to see all these combinations of utilities are trying to provide them entryway and non-entry. As Bass Babe manages to find 2 kills. He's got a star still available that he might even be able to drop one down on towards the plant because that grab well is actually still available. Or maybe it was a Nova Pulse, actually. Regardless, player advantage for Z11 in this retake.
Well, it's even going to be exasperated even further. Endo was highly considered to be one of the ranked demons, now doing so well in the official circuit. Does Kakarot actually stop the defuse? It could have been something here, but Kevzi, despite all his efforts, gets swatted out. And the thumbs down there too by Z11. Like I said, this team has a lot of personality, but yet they play so disciplined, which I appreciate a lot.
I like the idea from Kakarot as well, though. When that Cosmic Divide is down and you put the dark cover, generally you're like a player would walk in towards that to not be spotted around through the Cosmic Divide easy, right? But in Shrouded stepping deeper past it, you're generally not expecting anyone to recognize that. So it is good to see that Endo was very quickly able to adjust and protect his team from being pulled off the spike. You know, having Shambles thrown into the mix there.
Now, ZOL has to suffer with yet another eco round on the board. The only thing they have going for themselves here really is that they have a lot of ults available and potentially even more if Evan gets one. And
I mean, Hot Sauce has been holding on this ultimate quite a bit now.
For quite a bit now. I feel like this should be the round to use it. 3 to 5 is not like as worrying as maybe 2 to 6.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're bringing your opponents down onto your playing field with the pistols and you've upgraded Sheriffs, you got to think have also picked up a couple of extra utility pieces behind them. Endo should be okay to pop the blades. With Hot Sauce dispatching of Hardora, are they going to be dropping it down? Gate Crash has been spotted. Is Sin's going to die again to a false teleport? Oh, he's going to fake it. And he's going to pay the price, actually. Fontas.
Well, the fakes were there, but like you said, the price is an undeniable truth to be paid. Boss Babe is gonna double down, collect the taxes that ZOL are forced to pay. Kakarot does have a, I guess, small pocket of resistance here. Does have ult.
That's
I don't know about that one.
I don't like that. 1 versus 2, half HP.
No.
TP there. That's confident. That's what that is.
You need it though. Yeah, you need it sometimes, but yeah, the numbers just were not in his favor there. And other than that, I'm really curious what Z11 is cooking with this this positioning that they've been ignoring this cascade completely. Are they looking to cash out on a massive push? If they get that info towards mid, or are they just gonna outright ignore it?
Yeah, I mean, it's something again that I'll highlight, right? The strength of this agent composition for ZOL is your splits ability and your mid controlling mechanisms to be able to then get timing where you use the Yoru to get the positioning in through mid and then you get him out, leaving another player there, right? It's what we've seen ZOL do a couple of times already, but they haven't really done like the next layer to get in towards one of the sites.
Either way, ZOL have been potentially been missing one part of that puzzle there, because again, you control mid, you try to maybe leverage and condition from mid, but after that push by Endo, it seems like they've been dissuaded to be a bit more aggressive. And that yeah,
you're definitely just waiting for the dimensional drift, the sniper utility to be popped, and then eventually for the team to follow in.
Oof. Well, it is going to be a mess. That's going to happen. And Eman caught with his pants down. Hardora nearly nets a second, but Zin is keeping this alive for his team. Killsy gets a kill off screen here, but Zin continues his rampage. Does set up his teleport. Has 8 bullets left in the mag here. Is waiting for his teammate to get that kill on the flank, and Hot Sauce will be reliable enough to do so. No whiffs here, good sir. 2v2. Ooh. Zid even finds another one for himself. And now I think Fontes just concedes, no? No, he doesn't. He'll actually go for it.
He's got some timing actually to be able to find the one-on-one, but where will he expect Hot Sauce to be playing from? Who's again still holding onto this damn Steel Garden? 2 Razor Vines available, but going for the 1 versus 1 duel. Spawning out, dodges the 0 point, and wins the duel at the end. A good recovery from ZOL. Some individual heroics actually from Sind at the end there. But I actually want to highlight what Z11 did early on, which I really liked on that execute. Hard Dora dodges the dimensional drift of Sind because he's got the double cages where he can dance between both of them and have a pocket of safety when the ult walks on through. So he's actually timed the ult without being able to get full, vision on it and snuck on by. I thought that was awesome from him, and a little bit ripped away from him that he wasn't able to like double down and net 2 frags, right? So it was really, really heads up play from the likes of Hard Dora. But for ZOL, I mean, individually just bringing that one back to recover and get the round.
It's an interesting way to apply the Venn diagram, avoid a Yoru ult. And yeah, again, those small pocket plays like that just keeps this game so much more interesting. Granted, it hasn't been all that competitive for ZOL just yet. They have been winning off the back of individual talent, as you mentioned. And Zin and Hot Sauce still continuing their rampage here. Osprey and Fontes with the lesser weapons. I doubt that there's anything to salvage in the situation. If they can pick up a Vandal, maybe 2 kills, as we mentioned in the past, it'd be okay. But at this point, nah.
You're still sacrificing yourself in this round, though, as Z11 to find some damage because the money hasn't been built up too much for ZOL just yet. You also see on the scoreboard, they've got 3 ultimates. If we die to Sind or Kakarot, it's like, it is what it is. The chances are that you're dispatching of an enemy and it doesn't have a grand impact on this round. As Sind now is 1 away from the dimensional drift. Could definitely see a world in which that's picked up by an orb in the next round. It would be very nice, but he'll get it upon death. As ZOL get a 4th round on the board. And Raph, I just want to ask you the question again. When are we going to see a Steel Garden?
I'm scratching my head right now, honestly. I'm like,
Me too.
There were so many situations where that could have been the great equalizer for things, or your win more button, essentially. But
1 enemy remaining.
I don't know, like, are they doing fine without it?
Yeah, the only caveat being is now you've still technically got it available in your opponent's next gun round. So if you're looking at a way to get back into this, it's Dimensional Drift, Reckoning, Hunter's Fury for post plant. If you're using a Reckoning, you don't need to combo them. You get the plant and you still guard.
But the thing is, it's like Hot Sauce has been fragging out anyway, so if he used it, he would have probably had another one by now.
He's away from the fragging.
It's really interesting, but either way, they might have something cooked up. I don't know what conditions they're waiting for to invest all these ultimates, but if Hardora gets tagged, then there is going to be a higher likelihood that he might just get stuck here. Nobody's still pushing through all this utility, but wow, they sold this so well. They sold this so well.
Yeah, there's a sliver of timing for Kakarot to dryly have gone in towards this site, but it doesn't matter. As Dimensional Drift goes on in, Bassbabe is forced away. Unfortunate team flash on that Arc Rose, but it's information now delivered to the team. 5 versus 5. Hot sauce. This is where you use the abilities, but you can't. Null Command goes on in with the Reckoning in combination. It's Kakarot. See if he can do something. But look at all this utility.
Oh, there it is.
He can't do a bloody damn thing. Finally, we get these Thorns removing the primary weapons. A great little poppy flash out. But I also recognize the fact that that Steel Garden was too far away to be able to get anybody in security. Kevzy can't get the job done. So Z11 get a good retake at the end. Raph, he didn't use the ult deep enough.
I'm pretty sure somebody out there is going to be saying, these casters are never happy, like, about anything that's happening on screen. No, guys, the thing is, there's always more to be done. And if you really look at how this panned out, the single rifle that did not get caught, actually the pair of rifles that didn't get caught out was the reason why ZOL got pretty much run over in that round. Because I feel like
retake was great. Like, honestly, if I'm playing devil's advocate on what ZOL did bad, Z11 did really good in their patience before going in for the retake and stalling out with a lot of that utility when the Reckoning's going their way, when the Hunter's Furies are out there in the beginning, right? So,
at the same time, maybe ZOL was also positioning in a way where, oh yeah, they have pistols. There's definitely no way they're gonna outfrag us on this retake, but that just really was not the case.
Way too many variables to satisfy everybody.
That is true. So guys, better us than you. You can get upset at us and make fun of us, but you know, I guess it adds to their entertainment, your entertainment value rather. Going back onto the game though, last babe, 1 away from the Cosmic Divide. Essentially the only ult available for Z11 at the moment, but as well as ZOL. ZOL is actually down the drain for ultimates too.
Kakarot has been taken out for time and time again.
Not a good sign. You need that Omen to be up. You essentially want to pocket him for majority of the game, but my goodness, the Fog of War claims another round for Z11, and ZOL look like they're fish in a barrel. What a dominant last few rounds for Z11.
Yeah. I mean, an 8-4 half, you're still kind of relatively okay as ZOL if you can get these pistol rounds.
Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to the chaos. That is Abyss yet again. It is still Komodo and me on the desk, molding perhaps.
Yeah,
I don't know. Are you molding?
Going grey.
My goodness.
Since I was 18.
Oh, you had a full set of black hair at the start of this game. What are you talking about? You know?
Yeah. You know what? You could probably go back through the broadcasts of Valorant and see my hair like grey over time. I'm not even kidding.
The Silver Fox. That is a Komodo. Silver Komodo.
That'll be some like ability name eventually, like Silver Fox.
I have this
Unless there's a trademark.
Haha. Haha.
But anyway, guys. What about chamber mains? Honestly, like...
No comment. No comment.
No comment. It's fine. I know what I deserve. Pistol round, yes. Slow, absolutely. Patience, question mark. Certainty of push at 100%, but wow, Endo just loses so much health from the Razor Vine plus the spam. And now he is right back out. ZOL are making a pretty safe trek towards the side here. It's not going to stop the plan, but it is essentially going to have
It's this window of
backline.
opportunity to get the plant though, so they have to extend a little bit more to get a couple of kills, which they do manage to do so quite successfully. Z11 have a game plan on this attacking round. Emma needed that kill. Hey, Kakarot not first dead, alive, frolicking around the side. Eventually, the Classic will get the shots on out as he is trying to trace where his opponents are currently situated in the nebula. Kevzy loses his life, and now it's all on the Kakarot, but he's only good for a trade at the end. Z11 some good stability to get a pistol round, and maybe this is where the map goes their way.
I like that Endo had the mind to check up, because that is something that escapes majority of the player base, especially in scrambles like that, right? But the awareness to know that you have two teammates with you, you have to look up. Either way, if you lose that duel, we're gonna have a trade. Now, is this the first tech pause we had all day? I think this is the first tech pause, right?
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the RAF Moto podcast. When you have technical pauses in Pacific, there is an undefined clock. You don't know how long it's going to go for.
And all the way back in PH, we used to have this thing called the Tech Pause podcast. We just talk about everything. Yep, that too. Oh my goodness, is Riri watching?
right, yeah.
Either way, I think this is like the short amount of time where, since it's pretty early in the half anyway, there's not much to talk about. So we're probably just gonna talk about other random things. But
I'm not gonna lie. I've seen a lot of. I'm going back on my rant about Tejo. Seen a lot of people calling him strong, OP. He's gonna break the game. No one's actually like played him properly yet. Like, there's a lot of already theory craft videos from very well respected analysts and YouTubers and all this sort of stuff that the pro teams have done none of. So I'm wondering, like, you've got these resources out there that you're ignoring. It's always one of those things where it's like,
I don't know if it's like like how would I put this right?
Valid.
I think pro teams can be like stubborn at times too.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh well, that's just a theory craft. In practice, how does it work? You'll never find out if you don't try it. You know what I mean? Like, that's also the thing. Practice and rather the practical application and the theory crafting can be two wildly different things, which I feel like is the reason why sometimes, well, most of the time, some players, coaches, and analysts just really don't see eye to eye with a lot of things. But either way, we go back to the game here. Zin could have a freebie here.
Maybe.
Or he could be the
He has to
freebie.
wait. Yeah. Doesn't get the gun back, though. It's just a marshal at the end of the day. It's more importantly a opening kill. It's not entry, of course. He's on the defensive side.
That is true. We have a little bit of an opening. The Z11 have given to ZOL. But what can they really do with the classics? I mean, it is a pretty wide map. Hot Sauce is just shoulder peeking this for the information, and I don't think he'd be too scared.
You got to consider Kakarot's position as well. He can get some significant information pushing up a little bit deeper. He can stretch a dark cover over towards the rampway, which he actually manages to do justice. I say that as well.
Whoa!
He broke the trip over at A. That's ill-advised, actually, Kakarot. I'm very surprised he broke the trip and has given an opportunity to Z11 to get towards this A site and get a free plant. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, again, we are in the scramble where a lot of things tend to not make
Last
sense,
player
but
standing.
what does make sense is when the bullet hits your head, you
planted.
just kind of go night-night. And at this point in time, we'll say it again. 2 kills, that's fine.
Outrun me.
That's honestly fine for ZOL. But that's a 6-round lead. That is not okay.
Cook him in the cauldron. Double digits achieved for Z11. Finally, you're gonna get you know, some weaponry on the side of ZOL. It's not gonna be falsified that much either. I saw a couple of light shields just before we got into the replay here. Again, it's one of these things that you can sit in your armchair position and be like, oh, why has he broken the trip? He could have just waited for it, got a kill, got out of there, stolen a weapon. Yeah, he could have. He took a risk. It happens. It was just an eco. This is the round, though, that is a must-win for ZOL. It's the bonus. And it's not actually too bad of a bonus, all things considered, for Z11, too. Got a couple of the better weapons in the Vandal and the Phantom. Guardian, Bulldog, and then a Marshal. Maybe even an opening kill. A great stretch shot out.
Whoa.
And doubling down can't happen.
Maybe Komodo was shading some armchair analysts here. At the same time, there is no light for ZOL in this round as Z11 is constantly snuffing them out. I'm actually surprised how they're getting clawed out of their positions here. Killsy tries to fake the plant, but it's Emin and Zind holding down the fort towards the A side of all things, and Ardora has a long and arduous journey that I doubt that he's gonna make. I'm gonna take a look at the economy. They can go for it.
They know he was here, though, because he was the one that popped the shear. So they know, well, he's not around the site for a little bit. There's only 3 positions he can come from. And if you're in a 1 versus 3, you're kind of just ensuring that you're there for a trade where need. Eman will probably be the one to spot him, and then him and Sind will go
30 seconds
together.
left.
Flashes actually even.
Well,
Yeah,
there you
1
go.
on out actually is not bad in terms of this bonus. You know, only 2 surviving for ZOL. We're already talking about going into that round, you're sacrificing a little bit of economy or your, utility or down to the light shields. So there is going to be a result for that coming in towards round 16.
Z11 are on top of things. Like, if it's not like statistically obvious, like everything that they have been doing has just been obviously a problem for ZOL. I really like that Endo, despite having a really great game, he's not overstepping where he's positioning. He's not overheating at any capacity. And Z11's always there to support whatever aggression that the team decides to bring. And as I say that, the opposite happens. An unsupported kill towards Killsy, and Kevsy even heating up to get rid of the jet that I was championing for.
They don't know the Bassman's going back on in. Oh, it looks awkward. Oh, please tell me you're going to get the kill. Okay, but a trade on out from Kakarot. Again, when this guy doesn't die first, he actually delivers a little bit of damage in towards these rounds. Now it's Hardora yet again, tilting his hat to the abyss because he's lost his friends.
That makes me wonder, why was Kakarot getting picked off so much in the opposite side when realistically they have more agents to frontline this? I mean, there I'd said maybe rather lose the Harbor over the Omen in most situations.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
There's one away from Drift. but I doubt that it's gonna matter here. I mean, as long as the ZOL avoid giving fights like that, it's all good. Everybody was double peeking anyway, and sometimes, guys, even at the highest levels of competition, it does kind of go down to the basics. Sometimes set plays get snuffed out. They executes. They have a lot of like moving parts that can go wrong. So, hey, players will do what players do, and that's shoot things in the head like this. I also can't believe that lurk was destroyed before it could even happen towards mid. I was just saying, Z11 are so safe and careful.
Yeah, it's, you know, one of those things that you do have to kind of consider the little intricacies of different agent lineups as well, right? I can't help but feel Eman does have a lot of learning to do with this composition as well. I kind of feel like his walls have been a little bit underutilized in their strength, especially in the stalling strength.
That's true. It's been quite static, that it's only been towards one part of the map, and I don't think it's scaring Z11 enough to go where ZOL wanted to go.
Way. Endo has just dashed in towards heaven with a charge, found Kevzi. Yes, got traded on out. But that is funny how that's even been able to happen. Now you start to overwhelm the site a little bit and cosmically divide the heavens. But not before you lose, Bass Babe. Okay, Eamon, starting to cook a little bit with gas right now, although that's a little bit of a whiff from Hot Sauce. Get some milk to stabilize that one, and now it's all on towards Eman. I mentioned it before, he starts to cook a little bit, but now with the Reckoning going on through, he's only treading water. A Cove available, high tide on out. Is he going to be able to just get it on towards the spike, though? I mean, the utility here potentially is just going to reveal him before he even has a chance to get the Cove on out.
Ah,
yeah,
man.
Just immediately taken.
Now that you mention it, I feel like the Cove is something that they should be integrating in their plays anyway. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a post-plan thing. They could be using it to get a bit more space for their duelists to work, because I don't think there's natural gap closing on the end of ZOL. I mean, Zin needs his like teleport, has a wind up, a dimensional drift, obviously an ult, not gonna have that every single round. And maybe they're not collapsing on these flashes fast enough. There's just so many small things.
If this is a composition that people are wanting to adopt, right? The NRG comp. And we know that around the bend, a little bit of a further bend, mind you, Harbor is getting buffed. You know, what is Harbor getting buffed? What does that look like? Is the Cove going to be better? You know, are the walls not going to slow the teammates? Is that the only change? You know, there's a lot of unknowns, of course. We have no idea what the buff is going to look like. But that could only make this composition stronger, right? The only thing as well in that is, well, you're using the comp the way it is right now. You need to find its current strength. And I really don't think that ZOL have kind of been playing to its strength. The attackers side, there wasn't a lot of those splits where gathering mid is a very big strength of this composition. Playing on the timings of, you know, what Yoru provides with good gate crashes, good blind sides, good dart reveals to come through from Kevzi, for example, as well, on the back of these walls, when they bloom, when they drop, when they scale. And I feel like on this defensive side as well at the moment right now, you're not really playing with these good rotations and information gathering.
Get out of my way.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many ways to scare off the opposition with this comp, like you mentioned, and it could just be like a stylistic incompatibility with ZOL, because normally, but then again, it's also a different comp. Like, I would want to say that normally we have Patman and Zin on the front line doing things, but Patman's not here anymore, and I feel like that's also kind of like really big shoes to fill in for whoever they got in for ZOL. I believe it's Hot Sauce who just recently got picked up, because let's be honest here, losing Patman was losing a lot of flexibility and firepower, and right now they're feeling the effects. They need they need that extra push.
He's coming from Velocity, if I remember right.
And this is not a knock on Hot Sauce, because I've always said Hot Sauce has been one of the most reliable sentinels, even when he was still playing on that like Bren roster. He'd always make good decisions. But again, sometimes teams just need a different flavor, or need to adjust to a different flavor.
Well, you've lost Sin, you've lost your entry. So what flavor of a defense do you have for this solo play that needs to come through on this site right now? Well, it kind of helps if your opponent misses all of their blades. A drop on in, a Kuma Stomp, mind you. Look at the shutdown. Immediately 4 kills capitalized upon by ZOL. You hear the door being destroyed, and with 20 seconds to go as Bass Babe, wouldn't actually mind seeing him just head for the hills and save the gun.
That's right. A lot of
10 seconds
pallets. unblessed, I guess. I don't know where I'm trying to go here.
Right
Did
here.
it sound like I was sour graping? No, I don't think so. But again, it's just compatibility is one of the biggest things. Sometimes having 5 stars on your team could be worse than just having a team with general like chemistry.
I mean, I don't know, man. I kind of like Astra with the 5 stars. You know, better than the 4 stars.
So what?
Astra
Look what
with the
you've
5
done.
stars, you know.
Look what you've done. You've summoned another technical pause.
No. Where were we in our podcast?
We were talking about. It was team composition related still, like.
Better compositionally from ZOL in that last round, you know, recognizing that they could get overwhelmed by the Blade Storm originally, then Endo popped. Sin's gate crash was over towards B to back up hot source if they needed. So he gets out of dodge. That's an audible thing that, you know, can always cause a little bit of chaos as well from Z11. Where is he gate crash to? We don't know. They lay out some good utility. After a kill comes through, Kakarot repositions for some information and then gets 0 pointed out. So you've got some, you know, good timing marks from ZOL in that previous round.
Yeah, I'd also say. Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I was just thinking like maybe they need maybe like something a little basic, you know, put the wall, maybe put like a razor vine behind it just to even double up on that slowing power, because I feel like Zol's actually not doing a good job of isolating their fights in some of these sets. I mean, granted, they did win the last round by beating up on the Jet, but overall, like on that attack, they could have singled out some of these more committal corners, so on and so forth. I mean, again, there's just so many ways to use this utility that we can't be too close-minded about it.
I mean, the opening in towards this next round is the fact that they've got a dimensional drift to get information for a Hunter's Fury as well. If you have to be situating yourselves in towards a retake, that can be extremely powerful. Retake goes on in though with the operator, and he's very lucky to be escaping that one. That flash couldn't have come a moment longer.
It was so scary. That was so scary. The TP took so long to eventually materialize, and then that does look like Boss Babe is supposed to be in an unwinnable situation, but Zin was a bit worried about this lower mid lurk. I don't think he'll get anything out of that, but now there is a gap towards mid that Z11 could potentially abuse.
You've still got the possibility for this Dimensional Drift and Hunter's Fury retake, but they're actually going to use that nice and early to gather some early information, and actually it's going to be a Hunter's Fury to start to come in from Killsea. Meanwhile, it's a 1-to-1 trade. You lose your smokes over on the side of Z11 with 40 seconds to go. In towards the site we go. Again, another trade. It's the name of the game in this round. It's all bait. It's all bait. It's all bait. Oh! Hardnora gets the job done though, and now on to Sins. He's on the defensive side to reposition with an operator as well. I mean, risky business to try and attempt to do something like this when a Cypher is still alive. You know, there's a flank trap that's there. You've got no utility to assist you. 1 kill, you get a gate crash.
I mean, if they just double up, the op only has 1 bullet. But there's no way to know if he's reloaded or not. So, another thing. I think Hardora just got some free kill here, and well played by everybody. I also think that Zin got sound spotted on that jump, so there was no real reason for them to check the door anyway. At the same time, man, that operator, if you don't get any value in the first 30 seconds, it just becomes such a hindrance later on in the round.
Yeah, especially at a competition like this where you don't have any quick ability, right? That's why the Jet usually uses the operator. I mean, heaven forbid you have a Sage operator.
I mean, lucky. I also think if we just go into theory crafting, right? So there's so much control on the side of ZOL that realistically, if you can funnel them where your op is, it should be shooting fish in a barrel. It is easier said than done.
The thing is, as well, ZOL are playing both of these controllers on the same side of the map. They have so much time between a dark cover and a cascade, and a dark cover and a cascade, and a high tide, and a cove, and a dark cover. They could just keep repeating time and time again to block out A main in its entirety. That is a risk that was very ill-advised.
But why? Hot Sauce wasn't even nowhere near the proximity for a trade. Maybe he was banking on the fact that he had a teleport or a potential pocket flash, or he could have found a timing. And that was all. They're stuck with one less player.
They've actually. This is what I was hoping Z11 did a couple of rounds ago, actually, before they dumped the utility. I think they dumped a null command into the mix and then waltzed in towards A, like very loud. This time they actually set 2 players up backside, sneaky beaky when hard doors footsteps are heard. Command drops. He'd only be good for 1. The other guys have already found security.
30 seconds
I like
left.
I like it. As long as Fontus doesn't fall, I guess. I don't think anybody
that's
hears us
true.
either. Oh, this is
No
so
one
smart.
goes. No one goes spawn though. That's the problem. There eventually has to be a pin drop of timing for him to start to go. I'm not even aware of it. He's actually just going to wait and then turn back towards security, completely whiffing the first few bullets, but getting the job done. This is where we start to put the nail in the coffin. That is the map. And that's actually pretty convincing for Z11 in the grand scheme of things as well, Raf.
Z11 not having that in their arsenal. I'm curious how they're going to approach Haven.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at this, right, Z11 are playing the comp that Fnatic, kind of coined. FPX are running it. You want to stretch it out, Zeta as well, but my favorite, Nongshim Red Force, they run this composition. SPG, goats. The other side, though, for ZOL, I mean, it's like the most played composition from pretty much nearly every team. So if there's tape and history on how you want to play a composition like this, there is so much that you can learn to try and fine-tune, which, we can't really see that ZOL did on the previous map, can we?
Yeah, and that's a fair assessment. It's just because, again, guys, we always expect our teams to do more and to be as refined as possible, because this is not necessarily the stage where you want to be just quote-unquote learning all the way through. Yes, there is allowance early on in this stage specifically, stage 1, but be mindful of your points, your positioning, and everything, because this is still a fight or a battle towards ascension, towards your placement in the league at large. As we run down through that format, it does look like Z11 are with their trademark style here. Everything seems to be sound. They're not necessarily contesting sewer just yet.
Yeah, this could be a problem for ZOL if Kakarot didn't get back on towards this line, because Kevzi would be isolated. But now he's actually going to be a little bit isolated because they're already ahead of the curve where this breach fault line is going. Eventually, they will be traded on out. Hey, that's a teammate destroying the shield. That gives an opportunity for Hot Sauce and Sin to be able to potentially find something here.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
And the pistol round, you know how it is. A lot of people will say it can be RNG, but Hardora likes the numbers, keeps rolling for 4, and will dissect that defense to perfection. It did look really worrying when they were back-to-back from each other. And I'm not sure if they expended that recon dart early just to check if there are players A lobby. Regardless, that should have been the signal to have maybe Kevzi relocate towards her just so he can see the cross. But again, maybe that's result-based thinking.
Yeah. I mean, something to highlight as well is that Kakarot is back on towards a duelist as well, right? More recently, he's been on these Razors and Neons as opposed to the general initiator that we know him to have historically been playing. Most notably the KO.
Well, with Kevzi out of the way, that's going to leave ZOL mostly blind. There's going to be hard contact towards C Long. I doubt that they're going to actually snuff out a player here, but Zin might be in for a lot of trouble. And come on, Killzy, I know it's an eco, but my goodness.
Ace.
They got sauced on.
He's one away from Dimensional Drift, and if you get that in towards a bonus because you've given him the plant, you're kind of laughing going into a bonus round, not gonna lie. Now, they just have to conga line, find out where the opponent is, and give him the ace. All you need to do is find him. Never mind. Killzy gets his ace. The first one of C, unless there was one yesterday, or in our relegation or promotion matches, where I think there was one, actually.
There was.
There was, yeah. It's our first witness day.
Yes. I gotta say, though, at this point, if we just really, like, push maybe the playbook to the side a little bit, if I were ZOL, this is where you kind of have to line the mood up a little bit, because it's never fun seeing your opponent jump around like that, because it's almost certain that that they're, like, feeling it, you know? Like, oh, this could be a heat check. They could do something silly the next round. But again, ZOL, they have to keep it cool. They have to keep it calm and collected.
That's it. Well, let's see if he can do anything, because even though he does have this dimensional drift, he is only still with Marshall. I would expect him to use the drift if he's able to put a rifle away.
Who's next?
But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he does just shift into providing space for the team to clear out the whole site, which is actually successfully done. It's going to be a full retake scenario to come through from ZOL. You got two players that are still over at the A lobby. Kakarot and Kevzy are going to have to make a marathon of a run to get back on over here. And I mean, they have to go through Hardora to be able to even get there first. So let's see if they can do even that. They do. Okay.
Well, that's yeah, I was really scared they could have lined up, but again, this is a shimmer that ZOL would badly need to keep themselves, you know, in check. Again, you need those confidence boosters, no matter what level of play. And
These two
Z11,
cages, those two cages that were pre-placed earlier by Zim were really cheeky, actually.
Oh dear. And right now, quite the good start. It's down to 1v1. Eman has a lot on his shoulders and too much on his head for Babe to miss that big old target, apparently.
Yeah.
Z11 converts.
There's way too much time spent by Z11 trying to clear out spawn, trying to clear out garage. You know, you see the space and all are finding over towards spawn as well. As soon as they come on out, I mean, I'm giving a praise over towards them for pre-placing those cages. You know, you pop it, you're opening up your C long flank to be able to happen, your garage pop to be able to happen. They didn't time that with those two cages.
Once again, it has been...
There's just disconnection, I think, is the big word for ZOL at the moment.
Unfortunately, that's a very common word in the Philippines, guys. Other than that, it has been the case for a lot of our teams today. These small plays that should have converted a push or at least taken space just didn't pan out. I mean, it was really obvious in the Mongols earlier. We were talking about how the Tejo was, I guess, not used optimally. And now we're seeing it in comps that teams should be familiar with or tells that teams should communicate. But either way, ZOL losing on a conversion, or rather on a bonus like that, doesn't feel good. They get a trade-off, but what does that really amount to?
Yeah, well, we're going to have guns back in their possession in the next round, right? So anything that they can farm up in this one would be nice. Sins will be able to get the neural theft. Maybe Kevzy can stretch out an orb or a kill to try and get this Hunter's Fury. Just again, noticing, Raph, that they really do change roles into this map as opposed to Haven, Abyss. It's really only Kevzy that has stayed on the same role.
Oh yeah, lore for Kevzy, since this is an eco, and I don't think anything's gonna happen too much. Unless Hardora gets caught out on this walk-up. There's just no way. I thought he was blind from everything, but of course there's just so many throwables and shootables on the side of Z11 that ZOL are just having a hard time recovering, and Endo is going to continue his rampage. Zin has a rifle. Honestly, I think he should go save this. This is a free rifle to keep. And neural theft, he wants to go for it. There is a shield in your way, young man.
I'm used to fighting the best.
And even more precise Endo to end his little sprint. Yeah, going back on Kevzy. Kevzy used to be one of the most active, like, fragging Sovas for APAC. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah. And I think it was actually comparable to, like, Blaze King. But
actually, you know what I just realized? If he kept his name Headhunter, his name would be in the game for Chamber.
That is true. Actually, he went from Kevzy to Headhunter.
Yeah.
And then to Kevzy again. But I think it's also because every time like he went into a PH game as Headhunter, people would just call him Kevzy anyway.
Yeah,
come on, guys.
Oh, a good fault line, but they can't quite capitalize upon it. A really quick, rapid cage to bail them on out. Hello, friend. We are having a 1v1 cage. Well, actually, won by Kevzy. A little bit unfortunate for Endo there.
Ooh. Again, ZOL, this is not the most dire situation to be in, but this could be dictated by how Kakarot can find this frat. Oh, come on, Rav. Stop saying these things. I keep jinxing it, and now, oh my goodness, I should just shut up. You know what I mean? I should just shut up.
Well, if you're jinxing ZOL, maybe. But for Z11, they certainly worked for that round, right? They get caught in the trap of the fault line over at A long. They get bailed out by a well-placed, quick reactive cage from Hardora. A second one as well, I do believe. And then a very reactive kill contract that does get lost, but it doesn't dissuade them, right? I love the fact as well that when they're at that deficit, the dark cover's down, you walk into it or run into it, but you don't pop out. The distraction that comes forward from the sewers people, and then you pop out and get the kill. It's these little instinct reactiveness that you can, you know, really attribute to an aware player.
And I think being awake is such a big skill, because not a lot of players have that type of like headroom, you know what I mean? Some players are amazing, but some are just, like you said, aware of everything all the time, and it just really adds to the sometimes divine game sense that some people bring into the game. At the moment, ZOL are in a familiar spot yet again. They do have Rolling Thunder.
I mean, the next round can be pretty potent for them in terms of their ultimates. Let's see if they can gather any damages in the tail end of this round, though.
Oh my goodness. Well, Killsy's not
Someone's used the
looking...
Hunter's Fury?
Yeah, it was Fontes, and I like that Killsy was not willing to risk anything there, just did not want to give up the rifles. Time is winding down, and this actually goads ZOL into using their own Hunter's Fury here, but there's no progress in that defuse, so this was all for naught yet again. My goodness,
Yeah.
Aww.
I mean, we saw over on Abyss a Hunter's Fury used for naught as well, right? So, kind of am questioning a little bit of these ultimate decisions to come through from ZOL, because you use that for nil effect. You come into this round where you're finally going to have the weaponry back in your possession. You could have had a sensational amount of ults to either stave off a huge hit or come out with a monstrous retake. And you use it a little bit early. I mean, I get it, right? You've got so much information on where they are. You want to get your teammate on towards the defuse. A Hunter's Fury should be guaranteed damage or kills, but...
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment completely. And sometimes there's yet another trap that players have to be aware of, is that since they're resetting back to the ult, rather to 0 on the ult, and player with 0 charges gets 3 kills. It's like, oh wait guys, I'm not too far from my ult, and so the cycle keeps going on. You just want to combo the ults. I feel like that's what happened with Steel Garden. It took so long because they were waiting for the perfect time.
Yeah. It's like that old saving the ult for the next game, you know, which is one of those things where when the Cypher ult was a 6-point ult, how many people would hold on to it and then they get like 6 kills or 6 points in the next 2 rounds or even the next round? And it's like you'd have it again. Same with Phoenix ult.
That's true. Like, you know, in the words of Arnie, do it now. Come on. Kind of have to do it. It's an ult. You'll get it back anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
Especially in the earlier like parts of the game. It's cool. Let it rip.
Shia LaBeouf, just do it.
Just do it.
Well,
Do it.
Initiative at the moment from Kakarot. Shut down. Squandered. Ouch. Sin's good for 1 in return. But you've already lost a bunch of boys. Paranoia on out is just going to stall you for a little bit. Oh, the gate crash. Oh, the gate crash. The timing on this one actually could be... Yeah, he's seen it now. I'm looking at the radar. Will Kevzy be rewarded or not?
That's a good question. I don't think they've spotted Zin, no? Oh, and Raph! Shut up! I keep saying these things and it just happens, but now it's Endo trying to walk up onto the site. Killsy's not gonna have a problem trying to flash whoever tries to enter his realm. And now ZOL are in a position where I just think they'd have to save this.
I mean, they were watching the gate crash the whole time as well. And, I mean, why is Killsy gonna use that if it's over at the A side of the map and they're executing C? This is Save Simulator for ZOL. This is... We've just had a chit-chat and it didn't work.
So, guys, quick history recap too from one of the off-season tournaments. ZOL actually 13-0'd Zipto on this map.
On Haven, yeah.
Yeah. Are ZOL gonna get 0-13 is the question. I hope not.
That was, Pred, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope not. Well, it sounds like this is doable, but...
See, they can shoot when the round is dead.
Maybe like I feel like ZOL is and for the most part have always been a data-centric team, and from what we've understood on how Z11 play, they give very little data, but with with their subterfuge, they're very good at moving around their side of the map. And I don't think
Yeah,
ZOL can find the timing.
If I was to like, you know, in Oceania land, cover the names and everything, this would be like the JFT versus the GG How Bonkers, for example. One team very methodical and everything like that. That's your ZOL. JFT, throw caution to the wind, go and shoot on these agents and win. And that's
Man, I remember the first time I saw Bonkers, I was like, yes, that is the team I like because they have a
Give me
dog.
back the tradie shirts.
Man. Oh, but here we go. Maybe ZOL's a little too antsy for a fight here. They do get first blood onto Killsy, but the duelists are covering each other, and that could have been a moment where ISO was going to garner more hate. But man advantage for the first time on the side of ZOL. It's looking quite positive here. It does look like the forecast says that they're not going to get 13-0. They still have a rolling thunder and everything to ensure this, but there's just no way this falls apart, right? Hardora gets a massive lurk. The timing is not there for Hot Sauce. And Hardora gets another one? No way. There's no way.
Man, this is
Raph.
cloudy with a chance of thunder right now, and we need to see the lightning from Kakarot. The timing. Ooh, Hardora can get out of this one, and now they double down on towards Hot Sauce. Ladies and gentlemen, not like this. Hardora gets a 4K at the end of that one. I was about to say that Endo was so risky in popping that double tap right into the open, into Garage, because he didn't clear it, and you know, the Hot Sauce was just in there getting the kill. They can pivot onto the C side. They've got numbers. Hardora says, no, not on my watch.
Now check this out. That's basically what Hardora said.
Yeah.
Again, like, I just feel like at the moment ZOL is having some sort of communication issue, because it's not like they didn't have CT covered anyway for the stage player to put that much attention on it. And it does look like this is going to be an immediate play by Plastic. What is that confidence? That's actually crazy. And now we have Endo in a 1v1 here. Oh.
Clean taps from
dear.
Endo. Meanwhile, as well, Hot Sauce has actually lost his life to
Spike
Killsy, and now the plant goes down in a defendable position by Long, by Garage. Pretty much everybody going to be taking the Long location. A gate crash there available for Killsy as well.
Oh boy, and the mess just keeps on going. Killsy out maneuvering Zin. Can't necessarily find a fair fight here as well. Everything just seems to be going Ori. Emin still has the rolling thunder, but they concede.
I mean, I'm looking at it from ZOL, what you were just saying, and I think there's a kind of an identity crisis on ZOL at the moment. Players have just changed roles pretty much in its entirety between these two maps, and they're almost stuck in the previous role, you know? Eman is trying to find the timing that a controller's smoke's good from what I've seen. Cinder's trying to take these risky duels as a Cypher through Garage and stuff. It's like, you guys have changed maps and agents, you know?
Oh man, that is a very sharp observation, and like I said, there just has to be a little bit of time for you to adjust to your role, because sometimes you have to go, oh right, I'm playing this agent. Oh right, I have to play a certain way to maximize my kit. But then again, like, we value flexibility, yes.
Oh yeah.
But if you need to be a one trick to win,
like if you need to be flexible, Clove, you know, controller duelist, KO, duelist in any type beat.
yeah, there has to be like an overlap, because if you go like a hard support innie, like you mentioned, into an aggressive, like maybe proactive sentinel even, it's just a mess sometimes. There's just like,
well,
your mind.
Take Sind for the perfect example. You're going from an aggressive Yoru repositioning around the map time and time again to a Cypher who is essentially meant to, you know, stay put, right?
Yeah, and which is weird, because I've always like made the case that duelist to sentinel is, I feel like, the easiest transition to make, because you're both controlling space most of the time with your body anyway, but it's just how you do it is different. Like you said, Neon moves a lot. Cypher, not really.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, the role of a Cypher is paramount to a lot of team success as well, because you might not be the entry in, but you're the cleanup crew, you're the defender, you're the one to bunker down and have a lot of protection and awareness yourself, right? Like,
Yep,
there's a lot of pressure on a good sentinel role.
that's true. Cypher gang, rise up and don't use what Komodo just said
Don't
to
use
justify
chamber.
your baiting. It's okay. I'm a Cypher player. There's the out there.
Oh no, I've got a lot of Cypher hours. Don't you worry. I'm the nerd with the one-way cages.
Actually, I'm a Reyna chamber player, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hunter's
Oh my
Fury though,
goodness.
at an opening,
Spike down.
at a double. Okay, we're talking now, Zol.
One enemy
Are we gonna win this
remaining.
round? Yes.
Here we go.
Yes. I was
On the
scared.
board.
I was scared. I was genuinely scared when Boss Babe tried to frag. I was scared for my life. And Zol get one more round on the board. Okay, we have to explain too that the attacking side is by far the more advantageous side. So, you know, just to run that point home for a lot of our viewers out there who maybe are...
Yeah. The inkling that I'm getting though right now from Z11 is your ISO, Sova, tricks are gonna be strong on the defensive side on this map.
that
And the
is
fact
true.
that they're already on a 9-1, that's very really could go 11-1 or 10-2, you know, 9-3 worse, right? You're
Yeah.
talking about a pistol round and a secondary round and maybe even the game's over. So you really have to see Zol find this round. Eman has literally been holding on to this Rolling Thunder for the next half at the moment.
All right. We're working
what
here,
a,
but...
what a contingency to bail out.
Sir, beautiful shield there. Beautiful heads up play there by the ISO. And now bodies are falling on both sides. This time it's Z11 on a deficit. Zol trying their best to close this out, and Hot Sauce comes alive with a 3K and 9-2. You mentioned 9-3 could be the worst outcome for Z11, but I see a hopeful Zol squad.
Do you see a superstitious Zol team though? For real, the 9-3 curse. I mean, I'm looking at that as just in its in infancy. You get caught popping your
Oh my
shield, and then you
goodness.
that hurt my ears. And then you immediately pop your contingency as well. It's like good reactive utility to come on out, but really sharp shots to come through from Hot Sauce. Now into
Like
the
I
last
said-
round of the half. Killsy is one away from this dimensional again.
Cover going up.
Okay, maybe a heat check and a half there. I don't mind it so much though. But now he has to get out of here. Otherwise, this could be a run over. I think Rolling Thunder is still available for Eman, so that's an
Oh, they
option.
spotted him.
Wow.
He's stuck. I mean, he's dark cover. He could technically waltz on out, but now at least they know the last confirmed position was behind the plat. This is just going to go back into a little bit of a stalemate solution at the beginning of this round as well. And you've kind of confirmed as well that Bass Babe has used these Shrouded Steps. Sorry, that Hot Sauce has used
Hot
the Shrouded
Sauce.
Steps.
Oh, actually, on that point, Hot Sauce is not gonna have smokes for a good minute, so this is a window of opportunity for Z11 to just snowball with utility. Boss Babe still has paranoia. Boss Babe still has 2 smokes, I
The
believe.
problem with that, though, is you're not busting through that smoke over at C. And if you are trying to go gouge, there's 2 players. You're going B. It's already set up for a retake scenario with Kevzy on the Hunter's Fury to fall back.
Also true, but it looks like they're gonna give up the smart positioning for a 5. I'm not
Oh,
upset.
that's so cheeky from Killsy, recognizing that that Hunter's Fury could be achievably broken down. You're spotting out Sind as well, who somehow manages to just spray down Enzo.
Oh my goodness.
down, B.
And now we have the near ult theft. Do they have time? This is gonna be cutting it really close. And now Hardora has been spotted by that cam.
10
Where
seconds left.
is the spike? Oh, what a save by Killsy. This could be such a precarious spot to deny. The Rolling Thunder is here. That is the round
Last
indeed.
player standing.
Unless...
Well, you can
Okay.
clear away all of the weaponry. That actually does become a little bit
Switching
more
sides.
expensive for the side of Zol, but you got to remember, haha, that was the last
It's
round.
halftime. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to hopefully a competitive Haven map. Zol struggling a little bit. Komodo did say something about stuck in their old roles and seemed to be very obvious, but now they are on their strong side, and Endo gets picked off towards sewer.
Not bad. Not a bad start for Zol in their trajectory of getting the pistol round, the second round, maybe the bonus, and then we start to talk though. Anything you can do, I can do better. Kelsey on the board for 2. Still extremely healthy, mind you, as well, with a blindside that goes in a good turn for the ZOL members. And that will bring maybe a little bit of silence into the server for a couple of moments.
Silence can be deafening, and especially with ZOL having such a hard time gathering info. It's made even worse that Kevzi doesn't have a recon bolt to work with, but it does look like Killzy's gonna back off, maybe give the front of the site for a more favorable trade here. Granted, there are more bodies on the side of ZOL.
I was more thinking that there wasn't a Shrouded Step available for Hot Sauce, but the dark covers do go on down, and they'll start to
30
path
seconds
their
left.
way in towards the site. We really just need to see some crispy headshots
Last
come through
player
from Kelsey
standing.
Hardora at the moment. It's only going to be one better for Hot Sauce. ZOL do get the pistol, so one step in front of the other is what we need to see.
Take it step by step, baby steps if you have to. Progress will still be progress. And I feel like that's also like another underrated skill. A lot of players will or can and will ignore the score and just play it round by round, play it to the best of their ability. Because sometimes if you look at the big deficit, it will get to your head. And I'm glad that, you know, these types of intangibles are very much present, obviously, in a lot of our players in our league. At the same time, ZOL have a real chance at making this competitive now, especially with the 3 rifle buys.
Yeah. These are the scenarios where you don't really want to be, you know, playing a rifle here and there and trying to have a good bonus round, right? You need to get each round on the board where it comes. So have majority of your force strengthened.
ZOL, curious on what might be happening towards Garage here. I like that Z11 isn't necessarily a team that flinches a lot. If there's a lot of noise or utility on either way of the map, unless they confirm the info, they're not really going to react to it. And they say that with the weaker weapons, they could get like just picked apart, which is no surprise really to anybody.
Spike planted.
Well, Kevzy's one of those members here that didn't go in with a Vandal. The Ghost is certainly doing damage. You'll even get a cheeky upgrade onto the Sheriff. Ouch.
Nobody.
Ouch, ouch again. Okay, hang on a second. Could you imagine a 1 versus 5 with the Sheriff? They line up as well. Oh boy, that would have been like a screamer.
It would have been. I would have. I'd consider it to be a moment where I'd be willing to risk a fine. I'm joking. Maybe. At the same time, you gave 3 orbs away to the Sova, and these Hunter's Furies have been really, really good. For the most part on both these teams. Just the matter, or rather the fact that Fontes has access to it way earlier than Kevzy is going to, it might be a problem.
I mean, one of these things on this map, right? How common is it that you see a Sova darting towards A-Long and grabbing an orb? That's exactly what the Neon does provide you, some haste to be able to deny it and gather the space over at A-Long. So you do counter that at least for the time being, which is just good, you know, realization for the side of ZOL that that is a piece of utility they want to shut down before it can formulate.
Gotta throw a wrench in there before it even starts moving. But so far, this is the first gun round on the board. I like the confidence of Eman to relegate himself to the Sheriff here. But once again, just Fontes having access to a potential Hunter's Fury could change the landscape of this round. And ZOL is taking their time here, gathering all the data. I think Zin might actually get cammed out here. Does get rid of it, but again, Z11 is just not a team to flinch.
Yeah, you definitely want to see Hardora stay alive in the back lanes here, because you've got that kill trip over at the C side if they do overwhelm from a garage split. Bass Bay will be able to capitalize on that. Same can be said about the one that's on the left side of the B site. Hardora will be able to spam onto that one himself. So if you're considering those setups, it would be great for Z11 if it ended there, but it doesn't. It ends over at this A site, potentially. A kill comes in on Hardora. Fontes catch him. 1, 2. Can he find a third one? No. Squandered. 20 seconds. Neon is going to head for the hills. This is going to be a really big kill, but it's been sinned. That was massive for him to be able to find. And of course, you've still got Neon with the spike in tow, running with the Nikes on to try and get this plant on out and running. Hello, Sims. How much space has he found in this map in this certain round? 3 kills for the one-on-one. Kelsey now. All down to the timing. There's a shot that comes on out, and he can't escape. He can't gate crash away. Kakarot to stabilize. ZOL find the bonus.
Expensive, but still very much worth it. Now
Spike
they've...
left. One
Well,
enemy
at least they
remaining.
get data on how Z11 want to approach that sewer position. Again, we were talking about how not having a breach would pose a problem. Like safely pressuring that.
The problem in that round, though, actually, is the duel that Basswave takes on towards Sins. He spotted him out on Garage. He just hold that and make sure there's no further, space gathered up through Garage, up into the window, down and towards spawn. As long as he's holding on to that, the rest of the team can really just focus on ensuring that there's a retake on the side itself. They don't have to worry about a flank at that point in time. So that was the big crucial duel that, had it been won for Z11, that probably gets them around.
I'm trying to picture it in my head, but again, the variable that we have to take into account is if he misses. And yeah, but I'd say so that would have netted maybe a higher probability of him winning that round. At the same time, I'm glad that ZOL is getting a little bit more fight in them as the rounds progress. Seems that they're somewhat adjusting to their roles. At the same time, Zin did afford that team hell of a lot of space there.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing it down to that 1v1. And it does look like Z11 are going to have a bit of a discussion on how these last 3 rounds have been going. Bonus was obviously quite insane for them. Endo has been decently quiet on this defensive end. And ZOL, they are looking to keep this tempo going.
Well, they are against the lesser weaponry this time for Z11. Just Endo with that Vandal. Do have some ults, though, up your sleeve if you want to try and deploy them. Gonna have an early recon now, shot out by Fontes. It's a real passive approach at the moment for Z11. I mean, you're always going to have to understand that in this current point in time as well, right? More premium on Endo's duel with that primary weapon, and then spotting out information to potentially even set him up. There's the info.
Oof.
You do not need to overstay.
I wouldn't mind a Hunter's Fury here, actually, when there's more players on the side, and if they can confirm the sound. But this Neon could pose a threat to the other half of the side. But hey, as I live and breathe, that's Fontes again, landing an impressive shot. Shield saves Endo again. Come on, and now ZOL breaking and falling at the seams. Fontes didn't even need to... We're bringing up the Brazos.
Why
That was an
Fontes
eco.
Sheriff so good?
You see head, he click head, happy.
That's what you need to do in this game. You know, Sideshow's rants about... Or Bren's rant. It's an FPS game.
It is an FPS game.
Shoot them.
Like I said, for all the things that we talk about, I talk about on air, I still play Reyna and Chamber, so...
Yeah. No.
There has to be a balance to it, though. There has to be, like, the strategy, obviously, and the mechanics for it, and everybody has it in spades. At the same time, I think that's the first time we've seen an early op pick the entire day. In fact, both of our teams that we're playing, or rather all 4 of our teams, have been pretty methodical in how they want to approach this, as the burst is going to come alive.
Well, Kakarot is one away from the overdrive at the moment
Spike
too, so
planted.
keep an eye out to see if he wants to get a little bit electric in this round or not. Meanwhile, Dimensional Drift rather goes on in to spot out all of the information possible for Kelsey, and now as they start getting towards the site, Kakarot did dispatch the Fontes, though remember, time gonna start to become an issue in a few mere moments. No utility to assist ZOL at the moment, so it's all the weapons at the moment in their hand. A 1v1 Gulag approach right now leaves 1v1 on the map itself. 1v1 in this arena as won by Enzo. Now it's all onto Kevzi. He managed to deny despite from being defused. I don't even know if it's halved at the moment. It is halved. Sticking it on the drone, the ping, the pre-fire. There's no time. Kevzi's playing with his food. And that's the round done and dusted.
Great salvage there by ZOL, and again, Kevzi showing his wisdom in that fight. Not even using his Hunter's Fury. That could have been a possibility, but no, he holds on to it. Rolling Thunder again, just around the corner for Eman. Z11 this time around, they look like they're struggling a little bit to respond to this attack that ZOL have been rallying behind.
Kevzy had to win the duel against Killsy when he's gone for the defuse, right? Because he's lost his teammate into the 1 versus 1 for time to be bought by Endo. Little by little, this margin grows closer.
Oh? Huh. Barely
shock
damaged
dart.
Endo there.
Yeah, no shock dart there this time. A reposition. It is good to see that Harddora recognizes that the shock dart lineup is coming up. So let's change our Cypher utility a little bit.
Once again, we play the patience game here from both sides. They just really don't want to leave any tool unused, and this could give them a false sense of security, but Boss Babe actually taking Kakarot down. Despite Kakarot being the first to draw a little bit of blood here, they will expend the dark cover towards C-Long just to give them an extra safety net. And now ZOL have hit a reset button. They're trying to fall back onto closer to their spawn, but now Z11, they do the same.
Just a little slight thing from Sind as well. That trap wire over at A lobby was more poised towards long, but now that they're expecting to go towards either B or C to end up, he's repositioning that to the outside of the A lobby so they know if there's a full flank coming through. Generally, you would have seen someone like Killsy go and get that A long control at a time like this to try and get a flank. So
30
good
seconds
recognition from ZOL.
A lot of mind games being played here. Did they see the animation of the hand go through the wall? But in any case, they do have the neural theft. They know Boss Babe is alone here, but this is not a player you necessarily want to take an unassisted fight with. He does get spammed, and Harddora with the Sheriff will give his team a little bit of a chance in this round. It's still a 2v3. A lot of ults to be used, potentially could be used. And Z11, they're deciding if this is worth putting their time and energy into. Hot Sauce playing awfully close to that dark cover as Fontas might have a window of a walk up here. Does he check the left corner? Does the barrel stick out? And this could be error on his part as Eman was ready to swing and support. And now that is going to be the withdrawal.
Got to know your angles that you first seen from the default boxes on site before you can swing out towards that angle. You know, you do cut corners a little bit in a situation like that where time is against you and you are at a player deficit. Always going to be understandable. Very well done for ZOL, though, starting to get these rounds on the board on this attacker's side. 4 ultimates in tow as well. Yeah, you really need to see something gathered here by Z11, otherwise they could lose full momentum of this one.
Are we going to have another 3-map banger? Because it looks like it's shaping to be that way.
Wait, I won't finish till like 4 AM.
I mean, I'm still hoping for you to get like a restful sleep and all, but it just seems like the teams are not willing to give up
3
anything.
hours is what I'll get. We're good.
Who's to say we won't get 40 overtimes?
Yeah, give me a medal for the most OT then. World record breaker.
While we have a lull in the action, I think, well, how many overtimes was the most I've casted in one game? I think we went up to like...
I did a 26, 24.
Yeah, around the same for me. Either way, I would not want a repeat of that unless it was like a massive grand finals of something, you know.
What was it? 27, 25? Can't remember. One of them.
Ours was I think it was the secret South built game that went on forever.
Yeah, very big silent action approach at the moment from ZOL. Not receiving any overextension from the Z11 guys. A lobby TP will reveal information. But Sin is down Endo, pushing through a smoke in mid. That would be very ill-advised in a situation like this. You don't want to be taking risks like that. An open A site for opportunity right for the planting.
Not sure why Endo decided to take that fight, but it does look like his teammates are going to be sorely missing that extra firepower, especially when they have an operator in their hands. But both these weapons just absolutely shred through ZOL. Kevzy might be discovered here. The drop down comes by Fontas, and Fontas has been absolutely massive.
They know the flank is coming.
I'm sorry I doubted the off, Killsy. I am wrong.
But hey, it's an isolated round for Z11, all things considered. You know, the defensive side on this map has been a little bit worrisome for both the teams so far. We saw 3 for ZOL. We've now had 2 for Z11.
My goodness. I'm trying to like think if this is because teams are so good at attacking Haven now, or is everybody just making mistakes today? It could be a combination of both too. Quite frankly.
It always depends as well on the positioning and utility on a map that stretches this thin in terms of defense too, right? The general consensus, you got your Sentinel that wants to cover over one side completely, and then you're more covering the other angles, right? When you've got teams that aren't doing that, you're leaving risks.
Oh, speaking of risks, there will be none taken by Killsy here as he immediately vacates. Hardora can't land the shot on the slippery Kakarot as Lightning refuses to be caught. 4v5 with lesser weapons in hand. ZOL are still making the most of this, but Quantus with the dart finds one. Endo comes alive. They try to snowball onto the side. They know the more bodies they find, it is going to be this much more difficult. Zin wants to be a hero though, but it is not to be.
Very sharp shots to come on through from Endo when he is alive, isn't it? There was actually no plant as well from ZOL in that chaos, so a little reset time available for them. Quick in for Z11, who have found their 3rd round on this defensive side and present themselves with 4 series points, Raf, to end this one 2-0, which means the casters tonight would also be 0-2.
I know it's not much like to talk about, but there's something about getting my predictions wrong. It always feels bad. And maybe this is copium, but statistically, ZOL should have won this. Statistically, it should have not gone this way either for the first series, but this is why we like Valorant. There's just so many things that could go right and could go wrong.
That's it, mate. That's it. We love Valorant.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And if we were to judge this round basing off every other round played, then this is going to be a very slow start. I'm surprised ZOL still have not opted to go for a just full-on burst towards any of the weaker sides. But then again, Z11's response, fantastic.
I mean, I'm just looking at the positions at the moment from Z11, and you've got Bass Babe ready for anything in towards the B side on the back of the cam to put his paranoia down. You got more of a stack over towards the A side. Oh, Lord. It'll be pretty good. It'll be a good day in the office as far as Z11's concerned.
Absolutely. And speaking of a good day in the office, both duelists are quite close to their ultimates. In fact, I feel like Endo would have something to say about this. If he could snag legitimately any of the players on ZOL's side, then they could destabilize this offense into yet another slow crawl. But even before anything is happening, it does look like majority of the players are in a passive stance. I lied.
Smoke's down actually now is unfortunate for ZOL. So now you got to turn up the pace a little bit over towards this C side where you've got a back plat trip for Hardora. I actually kind of like this for him to be able to find something when they walk in towards it. Does actually just get seen.
Wow.
Operator from Kilcian, and what does that permit with? Well, you've got this dimensional drift and a 2-player advantage. You can net a lot of information in this scenario to get your team in towards this site for the retake. Flashes on in, out of the ultimate. That was a little bit of a risky position to do that from, but now the team starts to come on in. That is it. All of the technical pause time to get Endo back on in, and he finishes it out at the end of the map. It's 13-8 to Z11. It's not the team that we thought would get the victory today here, Raf, but they do it convincingly across both maps.